drove the principal nuts at Amundsen High School. Amundsen High School was...
Make sure you look at the camera, Deb.
Yeah,
Because you're actually talking to the...
Yeah.
So you can see yourself?
Mm-hmm.
See yourself in the picture?
Yeah, Amundsen High School was 3 floors tall, quite a large high school. Victor had an idea. If he could jump off the 3rd floor and drop and catch the railings as he went down. So I said, yeah, what do you do with that? I want to find out. So at lunchtime, one day, we're out there on the 3rd floor railing, and he's hanging on the balcony. He's hanging on the outside now, on the outside, and he drops. Just let it go. Caught the next one. He took 3 flights right down to the bottom floor. Down to the bottom. And the funny thing about it that made me just about explode was the principal standing right there watching him.
But that went really well.
Yeah, Victor, you did it, you did it, you did it, you did it. Report to my office. None of us failed. We all graduated.
That's good.
Yeah. It was an event. But he would drop off that 3rd floor, just there's nothing to it. And he had quite a, I don't know what happened to him.
That's quite athletic ability.
He got killed in Korea. And a lot of people did. Nothing new.
So could you, I think you told me this before, Dad, but I believe you told me that you signed up in college for Army ROTC.
Yes.
Do you know what year that was?
Sign up with the man?
For ROTC, you know what year that was you started that?
Boy. It was before Christmas of that year.
So you were born in 1929, right?
Yeah.
So you would have been 18 in 1947.
Mm-hmm.
So is that when you started with the military?
Well, I started with the military, just ROT. I was ROTC, and we had a rifle range at Amundsen High School, which is unusual for a high school. And we had a 100-foot range, which is pretty nice size. And I brought my .22 down, and it was a pretty hefty rifle. Just it was fun to have it. And I laid down, and I used to love to shoot it at a kind of a lying down position, or the one I liked the best. I could sit there and cross my legs and lay the rifle across 2 legs and just kind of move over and look down through the sights, and it was very, very accurate. I moved my body like this. I didn't go like this, my hands. I actually just kind of I'd swing back or any way I wanted to go. And I shot a perfect score. And I got the shooting medal of the year award from the Major General. And we went up to Fort Sheridan. And here's high school kids, and you figure how old we were. Not very old. And we're looking at full-blown men shooting against us. We cleaned them up. They couldn't believe it. These are moving targets. They slide across. And you hit it, and they'd flip, come the other way.
So it was high school ROTC then, right?
Well, I was military ROTC.
But you were in ROTC when you were in high school.
Yeah.
So usually people enter high school when they're 16. So that means that must have been, let's see, 1929, so it'd be 1939, would be 10 years, 49.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see now, 39, 40, 41, 42, 45, 1945, right? Did you continue and did you go to college right after high school?
Yeah. Well, I was at Northwestern. And I was up on the lake was there, and there was an outcropping of rocks and things that went out, and I used that as something I could walk out on. And the guys were shooting skeet. You know what skeet is?
Yes, that's kind of clay pigeon.
They're all shooting skeet, and they're missing, playing around. So I said, "Hey, what's with this thing? You're shooting away and everything else, and you're getting nothing." And they started laughing at me. Next round, I fire. Bang. There goes the clay pigeon is gone. Blown up with a 22. Did that all afternoon. All afternoon. I followed that sucker. Fired. I let it. I led ahead of it, so it would run into the bullet and not try to catch it. The bullet was not designed to chase it. I waited until it got to me and then fired. I made kind of an innovation. They didn't like that too well.
Yeah, they're shooting with their shotguns.
They were shooting with a shotgun.
And you're picking them off with 22.
It was funny.
So did you continue in ROTC and college?
Yeah. Right up to my senior year.
Were you actually, did you have a military rank during that time?
I was a sergeant first class. And I became a first sergeant, which is the top sergeant. Now, that has nothing to do with the actual military, because I'm shooting for ROTC. So I had quite a good record. Oh yeah, I could catch that. It would, when I fired, it looked like a flash out of the corner of my eye. It would catch that damn bullet and turn it into a bunch of just dust and powder. Oh yeah, it was quite interesting. Also went out on what was it? It was a speedboat with an open cockpit. I shot from the speedboat just for the fun of it, and that was fun too. My father taught me that. He taught me how to shoot. I'd wait till the bullet gets to me, and then fire. And I wasn't shooting across the bullet. I was shooting with the bullet.
With the bullet?
Yeah.
What's that mean exactly?
Well, when you're aiming down through the sights and you fire, you got a line of sight going through here. Mm-hmm. You fire, and you're firing at this point to go there and meet that bullet right there. Mm-hmm. Well, there's no place for that bullet to catch it, because there's one line of sight. That's the end of it.
Right.
I kind of came up behind it. A little different. And I had more damn fun than you could shake a stick at.
You're talking about kind of leading your target? Where you're kind of like, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm meeting the target, and it's the bullet the target's moving this way, and I come up behind it and crash right through it.
Okay. So you catch it from the backside.
Yeah, catch it from the backside.
And what is it you're shooting at?
The clay pigeon.
Well, they're shooting clay pigeons off a speedboat?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's...
I did that, and I shot from the shore.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Well, it was when you're half nuts, you know, you do some crazy things.
Now you're telling me that you were on a kind of an outing with friends when you heard about the Korean War.
Yeah, we got up to, of course, we're up there dating girls, you know. Jean, I can't think of what Jean's last name. I dated her a lot. I never got serious with her because I knew I didn't want to get married. I wanted nothing to do with it. Got to think of Jean's last name. She was quite a woman. And I went up on the lake, and what nice thing about shooting it on the water, I could see where the bullet hit. You can see a spurt. You can see where the bullet entered and made a little splash. You know, where it came up.
Uh-huh.
That was nice. I enjoyed that. But I mean, it was fun, just kind of an outing type thing. But I got good at it. So it comes the fort. We're gonna go up to the fort. We're gonna shoot against the army, actual army, big guys. And we go up there, and they've got a moving target. They had 500 feet, and the targets moved this way. You could control the speed. So I had fun with that. You could crank it up, thinking shooting across. So I got a reputation of being a rapid shooter and pretty interesting. I made tops, which is interesting.
Was that in high school or college?
Oh, it's college.
Okay. You got more serious and more talented in college.
Yeah. Went to a dance, somewhere during the summer, I don't know what it was, June, July, or August, something like that. Went to this dance, and the general of the Fifth Army was there. I had quite a set-to with the blacks yesterday. They were telling me what I should do, what I should do. They just gave me a hard time. I came down on them real hard. But I try to get tired of listening to them. They don't want to work and do anything.
You're talking about the general from the Fifth Army?
Anyway, we're all having I'm not drinking anything, and a lot of the cadets were not drinking anything because we were not of age to drink.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I set up my shooting table, and it was on casters. The shooting table had 4 legs to it, and had casters that came down, and I could move it around. You know, it was a leaning thing. I could lay on it. It was kind of a flat top. I could get over on it and lay on it. And it wasn't designed for this purpose. But I got here, this angle, to catch the bullet going this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I fired, and I get a hit. And the other guys are standing there and they're going, blinking. Taylor got a live one. What? Yeah, got another live one. Anyway, I emptied my ammunition canister, just flicking them off. They were firing a shotgun, the 410 shotgun. You know what a 410 is?
Mm-hmm.
They were firing a 410. And they were missing on the most turns. They were not hitting. So I only had one round. And the bullet went by me, and I fired it. Actually, just traced the damn thing down with a bullet and blew it up. Mm-hmm. Hit it and and made quite a hit that day. So I had fun with that.
You were talking about a dinner party where you said the general of the Fifth Army?
Yeah, I think it was General Watkins, a big guy, and we had this dance, and it was a nice occasion. And the girls all dressed up. They had long skirts on, and this thing, and I wore a. It was not a military dress. I was. What do you want to call it? I wore fancy clothes because my Uncle Swanee, I inherited his tuxedo.
Oh, you did?
And it fit me. I went to dances with it, and went to this one and wore a tuxedo and made a big hit with the girls, especially. And he came up to me and he said, "Sergeant, we have an accommodation for you." I said, "Would you please step over here?" And he was a very genteel guy. He was a nice guy. And he brought this box out. I think, I don't know if Sherry's got the box or not. I don't think she does. I don't know what happened to all that. Anyway, I fired 12 rounds, hit 12 bullseyes, and the general thought that was pretty outstanding, and presented me with this medal, which Sherry has.
Which you have?
I think Sherry has my medal.
I think Sherry has your medal.
Yeah. I think if she looked around, she could find it. And it was round, and it had kind of like a wavy thing going across the center of it. Mm-hmm. And then it had some stars that were quite cast. They were just a lot smaller naturally going across. And he presented me with this as the most outstanding shooter of the year. And Mr. Taylor, Sergeant, how do you get this spectacular? How are you doing this? And I kind of explained a little bit. Took a little time, which was fun. And I suddenly felt kind of remorse, like I was treading to something different. Yeah, I went to a different mood entirely. So I was on the range. I fired my 12 rounds, emptied it, hit 12 bullseyes, and the major general came up to me. "Mr. Taylor, I'd like to present this to you in the name of the 5th Army, United States Army, as outstanding this and this," and that. He went on. I looked at him and I started crying. I said, "General, I killed a lot of people, and I don't feel proud of this. I took 12 lives. So how do I compensate for this?" Well, he thought it was funny. I said, "Sir, I don't think it's very funny." I walked away from him, turned my back on him. Didn't go over too good.
Imagine not.
But he accepted it.
Can you tell a little bit about where you were when you heard about the Korean War?
Yeah, I was up to see Jean Elliott, and her aunt owned this cottage up there on Fox Lake, and it was on a kind of a rock outcropping. They had a real nice house built on that, and I was invited to come up and spend the weekend, which I did do. It was a very interesting weekend. In those days, it was pretty good. And the rocks were they're big, real big. And the guys are bam, bam with their 410s. Bam, 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 bam. Full of sky. I thought to myself, this is kind of crazy. we're wasting a lot of ammunition and we're doing nothing. So I figured, okay. So I started leading. And I wasn't firing yet. I started leading across. And I said, okay, if I fire at this point, I can get that. I could come up behind the goal. And I started doing that. I became very successful. I was the only one doing it. They thought the other guys thought it was crazy. But it worked. The following weekend, we go up to Fort Sheridan. I never been up there. And they had a range 100 feet wide, and it was pretty deep. I don't remember the width. I don't remember how many yards it was going in. It was pretty deep. And the idea that the targets moved across. There was a belt that pulled across. And they would speed it up. And they started doing that. I kept hitting him. And I kept hitting him. And I kept hitting him. And then what my father taught me worked. So I had a hell of a good day that day. Really enjoyed it.
Where'd you go first when you... Can you tell me more about your Korean War experience then?
I think the one that would probably intrigue you the best, the warfare we were in was hilly country. And the Chinese came over the one end, and we're over here, and we're shooting kind of at a downward angle, so we actually had an advantage. It's better to shoot down and in, because you can hit much nicer. And those guys I heard the bugles blowing, and I told the sergeants, I said, they're coming right now. They're yelling and screaming, and they're running up the side of that hill. I said, triangulate in on that hill, the top of that hill. When they appear over there, start firing. Get the BAR out. The BAR, you know what the BAR was?
Can you remind me what a BIR is?
It's a Browning automatic rifle, and it's about that long. And it fires a 50 caliber bullet, pretty heavy. So I waited until that thing I could hear him blowing bugles, and I'm about ready to top that hill. They're on this big long hill, and I kind of figured, well, they're going to be on that hill pretty soon. Let's zero in. So we zeroed in. We each took one shot to see if we could, triangulate on it. And these suckers came over the top of that hill. And we were prepared for that. It took them out like crazy. It was an easy thing for us. And, so anyway, that episode passed. Dead bodies everywhere. So that evening there was this general was going to give away some medals and so on, but it was not only just giving me a medal, it was other things too that other people got. So he got up to me and, must commend you, Sergeant, for your valiant blah 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 blah. And I started getting weepy. And I said, General, it's interesting seeing you here and everything, and I appreciate that. However, you're paying me a medal of all the people I killed. And I'm not very proud of that. And I was really emotionally checked out, basically. And I told him, I said I am disgusted with myself. I've killed so many people. It didn't make sense to me to do that. I said, these people have families, and just like we do. And I turned my back on him and walked away. He says, "Sergeant, are you refusing this?" "No, sir, I'm not refusing it." I said, "I'm just making comments." So anyway, yeah, I had some good times. I had some real good times.
What are the things that you experienced in Korea, Dad?
No, just a second. I really enjoyed the deflection shooting I was going through, to come up behind the bullet and destroy it. Because you could see it going. You look out here, I could see it through my rifle sights. And then just catch it. And nobody was doing this. So I had some real fun. What else? Moving targets. That was really fun. They had a target range that they moved across about 5 miles an hour on a belt they came across. Of course, you could not hit the bottom of the target. You could hit the top part. And if you were accurate enough, you could kill these targets. I did. Have fun with it. I just really enjoyed that.
You liked hitting targets.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
But it felt differently in warfare.
That's a whole different thing. You get a soldier coming running across the field, and he's out for one reason. He's out to kill you. It didn't work too far with me. I wouldn't let him do it. No way. And my company was trained to do this, to be a slaughterhouse, literally. In kind of a polite way, if you want to call it that. So I just set a box of 50 rounds, put it there, and I had the clips that went into the VAR, and I could just pump them in the bottom of the VAR and just keep the thing firing. It was very, very effective. Take those. The targets came across a line. They were on a pulley. They pulled them across, and if you could fire and hit them, they had certain speeds. It'd be faster or slower. You never knew what it was going to be. So I kept in tune with it. Just kept going with it. And it caught on to the other guys too, which was good. And it got to be an interesting, very interesting day. I fired a box of 50 rounds, and a 22 isn't very big. It's about so high. And took out the targets that I was given time to do. Yeah. Victor Oettinger was my best friend. He was also an excellent shot. He was just perfect guy. So we had an interesting day that day. We were out shooting the American rifle team. Man, they hated it.
Didn't you tell me something that some of the different soldiers were... You told me something about rings or something during the Korean War, about some of the... I think, what was it, the Turkish soldiers, I think you told me something about.
I was walking through a prisoner encampment area, and they were caged in, and of course they weren't going to bother us, they were going to bother me. I walked through there and got a hold of this Turkish captain, and I said, "Sir," I always adjust him for informal, not informal, but in a formal way. I kept it very formal. And I noticed he had rings on his hands. "Sir, where did you get these rings?" I said, "They're beautiful. They're all handmade." "Oh, I got them on the field." I said, "If you got these on the field, how did you get these?" "Oh, I just cut their hands off." cut their fingers off. Oh? Then I put the rings and fingers and things in silicone, and not silicone. What is it? It was basically it was a oh gosh,
Alcohol?
it was alcohol, yeah. And it would dissolve it, and when it dissolved it, he had a bone and we had a ring around it, what it was. And he had a big collection.
So the Turks fighting on our side, or were they
Our
still-
side, yeah. I'll tell you what, vicious people. They carried a scimitar, which is a curved blade, about that long. Cut their head off, just like that. Really interesting. Then that one night, I was up on call. It was my time to be on order, and I was in the protection area of the group when the South Korean soldiers tried to break through. They got through somewhat, but we had machine guns set up on the sides of the rock and this is a prison. Well, they couldn't get very far. And didn't take much to get them. But that was another one. The South Koreans did not allow the North Koreans to pass. They were just so damn mad at them. They shot them down. No, I suppose I had something to do with that too. You do a lot of crazy things.
Remember how many years you were in Korea?
What do you think? It's a real good question. I went up to Gene's aunt's townhouse on the lake. It was during the summer of 1950. And I had my weapons with me. We all did that day. And it was like, I think I tell you, it was like a shootout type thing, which worked well. Again, it gave us time to buff up. So when we were going to go into combat, we knew we were going to do this. And we're all prepared for it. And I was shooting a Fairchild rifle. Our eloquent army did not see fit. They had an engineered, a real nice 30 caliber rifle. They did not use it for what it was designed for. They just thought it was fun. Well, we turned it into something else. We turned it into a shooting gallery that worked. And then that's how we all got medals and things from the acting general.
What weapon was that you were using?
I was actually using an Enfield.
Enfield.
Yeah, I like the Enfield because, and I still do today, the Enfield's a British weapon. It's a nice weapon. It's smooth. When you pull a trigger in it, there's no jolt back in it. It's just a smooth operating weapon. And I just liked it. Well, most of the other soldiers, we all took to it, basically. I mean, my unit took to it. I said I was doing quite well with this thing. Why don't you guys get involved in this thing? So I did. I got involved in it. We all got involved in it. The other squads on the field were firing Springfields. And the Springfields didn't have the accuracy. It was a little different. that British rifle was a German design that had been brought overseas, and it was excellent. It was very good. It was a very nice rifle. I had a lot of fun with it.
How'd you get to Korea, Dad?
Boat.
Was it an ocean liner or a cruise ship or?
It was a cargo carrying boat. It was nothing fancy. Just a boat, basically a cargo boat. It was pretty fast. Saw Hawaii.
Pardon me?
Saw Hawaii.
Did the ship stop in Hawaii?
Went by it.
Just went right by it.
Hello?
Did you see it?
Yeah, they were going to stop.
Oh.
We were needed. We were needed.
So what happened when you got to Korea?
We met the 5th, I think it was the 5th Division. They were armed with 50 caliber artillery. That was their thing. And for 50 caliber, you're looking at a round about this big around and about that long, the shell itself. So
It's huge.
yeah, it's pretty good size. I mean, it puts on a big punch. Plus, that's the first time I talked to Bud, Wilma's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was on a Bremerton.
You met Bud before you met your wife?
Yeah, I talked to him on the overseas, and I got to know him a little bit. Got to how he worked. I want to get how he worked. I was kind of a tactician. I always wanted to know why I'm shooting, and what is it going to cause, and what deflection is it going to be, and so forth and so on. We all did it in my unit. Other people did it, but we did. We actually kind of engineered it for ourselves, which is good. Targets. Russian tanks. T-34s. Destroyed them. They didn't have much chance against us. Well, 105 is a powerful weapon.
You hit him with a 105?
105s. You're talking, a shell about this long. Makes a big dent.
So the Chinese were using the 105?
Yeah.
The Chinese were using the T-34.
They used a T-34.
Okay.
They had one turret gun. And then they had one turret gun that they could sight. They had two. I don't remember what the caliber was in Chinese, but they had good weapons, very good. But we found out their weaknesses and took them out.
So there was artillery in your particular...
Yeah. We used everything.
Okay.
So...
kind of like you would use whatever weapon you needed at the time and someone had the right weapon.
I was panic-stricken. I wanted to get this over with. I got on the PR and I called the Bremerton, and he's a heavy cruiser. He was out on the ocean, about 20 miles out on the ocean. And I called. I said, "What is your name?" "My name is Bud." "Bud?" "Yeah, Bud Freeman." "Oh." I said, "Do you have anything to do with my wife?" "Yeah, as a matter of fact, you're married to her."
But wasn't that 1957 when you married Wilma? Korean War was before that, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no, the Korean War went through that area. That war lasted a long time.
I think it lasted 3 years, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't it go from 1950 to 1953?
Well, I had an opportunity to shoot what you would call ball. I shot ball ahead, which means I fired anything I want to. And you don't sit there and pump shells away all day long or something. That doesn't happen.
You'd actually have to have a target.
You have to have a target.
So you kind of were fighting based on targets of opportunity?
Yeah. You just don't shoot away and shoot away and shoot away until you burn out a barrel. It's senseless to do that. I used to get a kick out of it because the shell would go out in the Fox Lake, and you go put a nice big hole in the water. It's kind of funny.
Looks like it was June 25th, 1950 through July 27th, 1953.
Yeah, I don't remember all the dates.
Mm-hmm. So were you there? How many years were you in Korea?
3.
So you were there. Did you actually have any shore leave when you came back to the United States during that time? You're just there.
Went to shore leave twice.
Okay.
I went to Japan.
You were in Japan for a while? For shore leave?
I could take a week off.
Okay, the short.
Short burst.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Stars. Captain Stars. Art, what are you doing this weekend? Sir, what do you want to do this weekend? We need some action. Yes, sir. Where are we going? He says, we're going to Nashikapa Airfield Base in Japan. I said, really? Yeah. Can we take on a heavy load like that? And this is on a B-25 bomber, a twin engine bomber. They're fast too. And he said to me, we have the latest bomber, and if you look up in the records on airplanes, bombers, they had a 75 millimeter gun on that bomber. They fired one round at a time. We come down low, and I'd fire in, and of course other people were doing the same thing. Very effective, very effective. So anyway, we land, and you work on the engine. You check your fuel, and you do the various things you have to do to keep it in good shape. So I walk around this airplane. I said, Captain Stars, what are we going to do with this thing? He said, we're taking it back. What? We're taking this Jeep back. Where are you taking it to? To Tachikawa Air Force Base. I said, really? He said, yeah. And I'm just a young punk. So he opened up the bomb bay. It opens up in the bottom of the plane. And the plane was high enough off the ground we could run a Jeep under it. And then you could bring it, you could bring down these, I gotta think. It's steel grapples. It's like hooks that come down, hook down the ends of the Jeeps, pull it up, and a brand new Jeep. Marines went gaga. You stole our Jeeps. What Jeeps? You got our Jeeps. What are you talking about?
So you stole the Jeep? You just took the Jeep?
Sure.
And took it back to where?
Tachikawa Air Force Base.
Which is in?
Japan.
You took it back to Japan?
Just took it back with us.
For what purpose?
Because we needed Jeeps.
In Japan?
Yeah.
I thought that was shore leave. That's for shore leave.
Shore leave is one thing, and Jeeps is another story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had Jeeps, and we got a hold of the engineering crew, and they resprayed the hood and a few things, and then we had the modern numbers, different numbers on the Jeeps. Nobody could say we stole. That's the way it was.
So, Dad, I'm going to have to take off. Is there anything else you want to say about your experience in Korea before I turn this off?
No, there's a lot of other things that happened in this guy, but you can't list them all. There's just a lot, multiple of things. The Russian tank, the T-34, was an awesome weapon. They had a 75 on it that was quite accurate. So we had a tank called the Abrams 75. And a 75 caliber high pressure gun in the turret, very effective weapon. So they were giving us a hard time. We brought in the Abrams tank.
Isn't the Abrams more of a tank of the 1980s?
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that.
So it must be a different tank you're thinking.
Yes. I'll have to think on that one.
Is that like the M60 or something?
I don't know for sure. My memory kind of slips me on that point in time.
Basically, it was an American tank
Yeah,
with a 75 millimeter.
built by General Motors.
Okay.
Built by Ford Motor General Motors Corporation that built Chevrolets. They made the Abrams tank.
I'm going to turn this off, Dad, because I have to get off to somewhere.
Yeah.
That was